Okay, welcome everybody. How are you today? Good, good. I see a lot of smiles, a lot of nods. That's a good thing. Today I'm going to be teaching a class on the EY series products made by Lowry. Now, obviously, if you have an instrument that does not say EY on it, you're always welcome here and you will definitely learn something today. But I'm going to use the EY product as an example today. So that's going to be the EY 300 Fanfare, the Journey, the Inspire, and Rialto. Now, obviously, like I said, if you have something different, that's okay. You're going to learn today. But before I get started, I'm just going to play a quick song just to make sure the audio sounds good and just to goof off for a little bit. So this one, you got to get involved. You don't have to unmute yourselves. You can say it just to yourself. But there's a part of the song where you yell something out in this, and I'll let you guess what you yell out. But it is a specific type of drink. That is your clue.
Tequila. Tequila.
Tequila! It was close enough. The phone started ringing really loud in the background during that, so I was just really distracted all of a sudden. I was like, oh no. But that's okay. It went to voicemail, so they left a voicemail there. So today, I'm going to teach something very important that I think most people should start learning at this point, especially when you're at home and, well, what have you got better to do besides learn a new trick here? So I'm going to teach you how to memorize setups. So I encourage notes throughout this, but it's called memorizing setups or saving setups, basically saving your work. Let me do this here. There we go. So when you're playing a song, rather than touch all those buttons every single time you play a song, wouldn't it be nice to just save it so you don't have to press all those buttons? You can just say, I want to play this song, and just play it, right? If you think about it this way, saving setups is kind of like making your own song setups. We got a lot of students that love the song setup feature because it's a great, great feature, but what if that song you want to play is not in there? You gotta do it yourself. So I'm going to show you how to save your work. When you finally get that good setting that you say, oh, I'm ready to play my song, rather than have to do it every time, let's just save it. So to start, let's do this here. I'm going to give you several steps, okay? So it'll be a step-by-step process. But first, let me show you this. Hopefully you see something that says bank setup. Do you see that with some letters there? Okay. Now this is just an example of what the Inspire or Rialto looks like. They're called bank setups. So think of it this way. When you want to save your work, It's just like saving your money. You store it in the bank, right? So you have different combinations. There's an A bank, there's a B bank. You can store your money in different banks, right? So that's what this is. So you can store a song in your A bank, or you can say, I'm going to put it in B bank because I get a better return, or you could put it in the C bank. So obviously, if you have a fanfare or journey, you may not have the B or C bank. So that's easy. All you do is just don't press the B or C bank because you don't have them. Press the A bank. So easy enough. So that's what it looks like. And if you have a different instrument, it might look different. You might have A, B, C, D, E, but they never go to F. They just stop there. It's usually A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so going forward, just know that in those banks, there's already stuff. So before you save anything to those A, B, or C banks, just know that right when I touch the letter A on this instrument, and I'll show you kind of from another angle here, where it is, you should hopefully have seen it before, but it's right here. There's a red button that says Memorize, and on this particular instrument, the Journey, it says the letter A right next to it. So on other instruments, it may say A, B, C, D, E, and they'll go across. And in those banks, like the letter A, for example, there's already stuff in there. In my A bank, what comes kind of default in the instruments when you buy them is Lowry organ sounds in that A bank. It's full of Lowry organ sounds, just famous Lowry organs. If you have a B bank, you can write this if you have an Inspire or Rialto. If you have a B bank, actually you can write it down either way. But if you have a B bank, that's full of Hammond-type sounds. And they're not going to say Hammond because, you know, this is a Lowry, so they can't say Hammond in there. But they're kind of geared toward Hammond sounds, so they'll say jazz organ instead. Now, the C bank, the last one on there, is going to have pipe organs and church organs and cathedrals, things like that. So they're just different organ types. So what you're doing is when you want to save something, you're just kind of saving over those, okay? You're saying, I don't really need those Lowry organ sounds. I'm going to save my own stuff over that. And I'll tell you a little later, you can clear it out and you can reset it, so you can still use those sounds if you like them. But first, let's talk about how to save our work. So let's say we have a song that we want to play, and for some reason, maybe it's not in your song setup. Or there's a way you want to set it up specifically that isn't quite on there. So I'm going to pick a song here, and I just had this sitting out, so I'll do this one. It's called Hello, Dolly. So this is going to be my example here. So obviously, the first thing you want to do when you're ready to play and set up a song is you need the music, right? So you get out the music. That's the first part, okay? Now, here's the first step. Let me see if I can pull this up again. Whoa. Pull this one up. There's a bunch of stuff on my screen now, so hopefully you see that. Does it say memorizing saving setups there? Okay, so here's the important part. Here's our step-by-step process, so write this down. Step 1, set up registration. And I'm going to be going through these, so I'm going to be making them go down and kind of showing you the different ones as we go along. So it says set up registration. That means that you want to set up your song first before you play, or before you save anything. So right when I sit down and I'm ready to play a song, I have to touch the buttons. So set up registration just means touch the buttons. So for Hello Dolly here, I'm going to set up a Dixieland band here. I'm going to go to Dixieland. I'm going to set the tempo just the way I like it. I'm going to go to 160. I just decided. And then I'm just going to leave it on 0. So none of these numbers are lit here. Okay, none of these setups are on. So it's just position 0. And it's going to have a Louis Armstrong trumpet. Perfect. That's perfect for this song. So I'm just going to leave it. And then I'm going to put on an introduction, because that's what you do before you play a song, right? You put the introduction on. So I'm ready to go. So if I want to save that, I can actually just do my next step here, since that is the first step, is to set up the song. And now, let's go to the next one here. It says touch memorize. So that just kind of begins my saving process. So I don't have to do that beforehand. Just keep that in mind. Some people think when they start this process that they have to, touch that before they even set anything up. And no, you set up the instrument first. So put on my rhythm, put on your sound that you want to use, your introduction. Now, touch memorize. And then, here's where I get to put it in my bank here. Here's where I make kind of a combination. So you touch a bank, letter A to E, depending on your instrument. So usually you want to just do A. Just start with A. That's easy enough. Put it in your main bank, your Wells Fargo. Don't stick it in your specialty banks yet. We'll just put it in letter A. And then it says followed by setup 1 through 10. If you only have 8, don't touch number 10. So some of the instruments, they go up to 8, so just start with 1. So for example, it says there, A1. So it sounds like a lot of stuff, but really, just listen, think about what we did. We set up the song, we touched memorize, and now we just touch a combination, A1. Now, let's do one more. Here's the part where we have a couple extra things we have to do. This will come up on your screen. You have a couple choices. It'll say style and transpose. And all it's saying is, do you want to save your style and transpose? So let me show you an example of this real quick before I move on. Okay, so when I touch memorize A1, all I touched were those buttons we talked about, and now look at our screen. It says something like this. Hopefully you see that. Does it say memorizing to? Good. So it says memorizing to setup number 1. And basically it's saying, do you want to save the style and the transposition you saved? Typically, I'm just going to say yes for both. For now, I don't think you guys would really need it without, so just do yes for both. So you want to switch those to both say either yes or with. Now, let's look at this real quick. How do I do that? How do I select one? If you look at the arrows here, so look at this one. You see these arrows, they both point down, right? So on my screen, if I touch the down arrow, it'll change that to yes or with. And same with this one. Look at this one, has up arrows next to it. So if I touch the up arrow, it'll change that to say with or save, If you have an Inspire, it'll look more, or a Rialto, either one, it'll look more like, oh, maybe I don't have it. I think this is it. Let's see. Yeah. So it'll say, do you want to save the style and transpose? You just check the boxes with your touch screen. So typically, like I said, you always want to select with. And the reason for that is you want to save your work, right? So I picked a style, and I want to save that in there too, right? If I don't save that, then I don't get a rhythm coming up. So I just pressed memorize A1 with. That's it. Easy enough. It seems like a lot, but it's really, really simple. Okay, so let's go back to that list here. We got one more step, and that's it. Easy enough. You touch memorize again, and that completes it. Okay? And I will email this out. You'll get this either on Saturday or another time. I might even put it in the chat at some point, so you can download it now if you want to, but I'll do that in a minute so I don't get it confused here. So, step 1 through 5, it's that easy. setup registration, touch memorize, pick a combination, A1, save your style and save your transposition, and then memorize again, and then that kind of completes it. So I can kind of show you, whoops, hit a wrong button. So I can kind of show you when I hit those buttons right there, I can even turn off the instrument. I'm just going to turn it off. Oh, no, it's gone. No, it's not. It's still there. So when I turn it back on now, you can say, tomorrow morning I want to play Hello Dolly again. But I don't want to press all those buttons. So all I do, I go to my bank. I touch my combo now. So A1. That's it, and I'm ready to go. Close enough. But you get what I'm saying. So here's the step beyond that. What do you do after that? If you want to save more setups, you've got more room in your bank, don't you? So say you want to go a step further and say, I want to do more with that song, not just one setup. You can actually save multiple setups. So I can save something in A1. I can put something in A2, A3, A4. So the reason for this is maybe you don't want to play the whole song with that one sound. Maybe you want to play it with multiple sounds. Let's do that. Let's try setting it up real quick. I'm going to use that same style. I'm going to go even further, and I'm going to actually transpose it. I'm going to transpose it to B flat. Does anybody know why it might sound good to transpose it to B flat? You can unmute yourself if you have an answer, or raise your hand. Why would I do B flat for this song?
More like a
Trumpet is B flat.
Yes, a trumpet is in the key of B flat. Perfect, Gene, thank you. So I'm going to tune it to B flat. I just touched the down arrow on the transpose twice. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to put my introduction back on, and I'm going to say I want to use a category of sounds for this. I can actually go and choose a category. I'm going to put on Benny Goodman in my nostalgic category here. So I'm going to play this song with Benny Goodman on the clarinet. Oh, I'm going to start the song like that anyway. So I'm going to save that to A1 and then say the next part. I'm going to go to a different sound, and then I'll save that to, let's say, A2. And then the next part, I can say I want to go to Louis Armstrong now, and then save that to A3. And then let's do a finale, a big sound at the end, and save it to A4. Yeah, 4. So now listen to this. I have a whole song set up now. So, and I can go through them. So I'm going to play the whole song because I just saved all these setups here. And then I'll show you how you can kind of back it up here. So hold on. Here's, hopefully if I did it right, here is Hello Dolly. I love that Dixieland style. It's a real party. It's fun. So basically, all I did, I pressed a couple buttons in the between because I didn't like some things that I saved in there, I guess. But basically, I just went from A1. I started in my bank, A1. And then all I do, if I want to go to the next sound that I saved, I touch 2. Then the next sound, 3. And I went to 4. But you can take a song and, if you've heard of names like Marco Mendez or if you've heard of the famous Joni Monero, they'll use setups that go from A1 all the way to 10 or even sometimes A1 to B9, so you can go through and save all sorts of stuff if you want to get really specific. So do I have any questions so far on anything to do with saving your work? Anything on those bank setups that I talked about? I've got some stuff I'll move on to if not. Julia, do you have a question?
Yeah, you're saving that to the organ,
Uh-huh.
but not to a stick. So when you want to save something else, does that just override what you've saved before?
That's the perfect segue, because that's where I'm going next. Yes.
Okay, all right.
That is correct. So I saved stuff in here from A1 to 4. But you're right. Now what happens if I want to play a different song? I don't want to play this song anymore. Something else. I have to back that up somewhere else. So like you said, a USB is one option. Another option, because these fanfares or journeys, if you have something like that, they don't have a USB, right? There's no USB port on these. So I have to use a special button on these ones, and I'll show you both. I'll show you how to do each of them, but this is what that special button looks like. Hopefully you see that. It says Bank Storage. So this button on the fanfare and journey only is like having a little USB in there. You've got a little USB that you can fit 20 different setup groups, which means 20 different songs, for example. So basically, when you say you want to play a different song and you don't want to play Hello Dolly anymore, you got to back it up into your storage here. And it's really easy. You touch the button that says Bank Storage, and then you touch the button that says Save. And then you can save what you've got so far.
Sean, it looks like you have another question.
Yeah, I see. And then you can start a new song after that. So, Judy, go ahead, Judy. I'll start with Judy. Oh, you're muted still. Oh, still muted. There you are.
Am I now? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. One thing that you have to be careful of in memorizing changing sounds through the song is that once you've finished the first save, you do not have the intro on anymore.
That is correct. If you save that in your first preset, so say you save A1 and you have that introduction on because that's how you want to start your song. Mm-hmm. If you make some changes and then say, I'm going to save this one to A2, make sure anytime you go to the next preset, A2 for example, make sure you turn off your introduction. Because if your introduction is on, it's going to end up going to the ending when you go to that next setting. So anytime you're not on A1, turn off the intro. Just make that as a note there. So good point. So Diane, let's go ahead with Diane.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, you used A1, 2, 3, 4 for the 4 different setups for Hello Dolly.
Correct.
Supposing you only had one setup for Hello Dolly, A1, can you use A2 for a different song?
You certainly can, yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that gets difficult with that is when you save it afterward. If you save it in the instrument here or on a USB, you have to make sure you make it so you know what songs are in each group. That's why I like to do it separately. So I'd say even if I was just doing A1 and that's it, I like to back that up and save it as just Hello Dolly, so I don't get confused when I bring it back up later, because then I would have to name it in here and write Hello Dolly plus this song plus that song, and it gets a little more confusing. So, but you certainly can, and I do that a lot for concerts. If you're going to play a concert where you don't want a lot of time in between changes, you can save one song in A1, save a different one in A2, save a different song in A3. So then you could just go from one to the next really quickly. But you don't want to confuse yourself later is the only reason I would say try to do them separately, so you can save just Hello Dolly, and then the next song you can, just load up with your screen here and say, now I'm going to play, Do, Re, Mi, and you have to pull it up there. It's a little easier so you don't get confused, but yes, the answer to the question is yes. So any other questions so far? This is perfect. Got a lot of good feedback so far. So let's see. So next I'm going to talk about actually saving it to that bank storage here. And let me see if I have a picture of this. I can't remember. I think I have the picture for if you do this on the Inspire here. Okay, yeah, this is the yucky part. Oh, wait, not this one. Sorry, wrong one. Let me find the right one. Let's see. I got all these pictures here, so it's hard to find the right one sometimes. There we go. Okay, so this is a bunch of stuff. So just look at the top, for example, for a moment here. So bank storage and the USB button are going to be exactly the same. So if you have a Fanfare or Journey, it's the same as pressing the USB button because it's kind of a little built-in USB. It's very small. You can't fit a lot on it, just 20 songs. On the Inspire or Rialto, you can fit unlimited amounts because you can fill up one USB and then start another one and so on. But just look at this top section here first, okay? Basically, it shows some finger touching a button that says USB. And then if you look right next to it, there's a finger touching the Save Setups button. That's how we're going to back up our song. We're going to save it to our USB or bank storage. So the next part here, I should have zoomed in a little bit more, make it a little easier. Let's see if I can do that. Does that look a little bit easier to read? Well, now it's a little bit funky. There we go. That's a little better. Okay, so look at step number 4 there. Don't worry about the numbers. But this is in your manuals. All of you have this in a manual. It says scroll to find an empty box. So this is where you're going to put it. You're going to put your song Hello Dolly in an empty slot. So it might as well start with 1. So it says when you touch that number 1, you come down here and it says name your setup group. This is the yucky part that nobody likes because you have to save your work here. So how do we do that? Well, you have an uppercase option, a lowercase option, and a numbers or symbols. This part is fun to try in front of your instrument. So if you're just looking at this, it might look confusing, but you see that little. Let me pull up a different one here. Actually, I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to find a different picture here because this will help you name them a little easier. Okay. All right, let's just look at this top part here. We're just going to name our song. And I know this seems very complicated. I'm just trying to be step by step and really slow about it, so hopefully it's not too confusing. Let's just look at this top part here. When you touch uppercase, it's going to take any letter of the alphabet. As you scroll up and down with that scroll button you see in the center, it's going to change that first letter from A to Z. It's going to give you all the letters, and it's going to be an uppercase letter. Now look at this next spot here. Let's see, let's do that. Now this, it says if you touch that right arrow, look at the little underline underneath where it says yellow. It's under the E now because you just shifted that little line over. Now it's saying to change this letter. So you scroll up and down through the alphabet and change that letter. So kind of in short, it's kind of a pain in the neck. Because you have to do each letter individually, okay? So the first letter, you go up and down until you find the letter you want. Then you go to the next letter, change it till you like that letter. And then when you're done, there's just an option on the bottom that says save. And you're done. So that's how you back it up to the USB. So I went over kind of 2 steps. That first half was just saving it to the instrument. And that's the easy part. You don't have to do much for that. Memorize A1 and then memorize, you know. And I'll actually put that in the chat right now so I don't forget, because I know I'll forget later if I don't do it now. So give me a second. Let me find that. But just make sure you know that those are 2 different steps. So all you have to do is you can save it to the instrument and you're good. The extra step is if you want to save it to your USB or to your instrument, you have to go to bank, storage, or USB. And it kind of makes sense here. Let's make sure that's the right one. There you go. Oop, I just saved it with Joni by herself. That doesn't help everybody here. Let me share that with everyone this time. There we go. Okay. So I just put it in the chat. If you have an iPad or iPhone or something like that, it may not show up, but that's okay. You probably wrote it down anyway, right? And if you didn't, you can get it in a couple days. Robert will send it out. But either way, it's there in the chat. If you want to download it now, you can. Let's see. How much time do I have? Let's see. Okay. Let's do this. Any questions about the USB or the bank storage feature on these instruments here? I see Judy. You got a question there. Go ahead. Oh, you are muted. There you go.
When I touch bank storage, it comes up load. So that's the first step on the journey, I guess.
Yeah, load is your first option if you scroll down once. Oh, sorry, scroll up once.
Mm-hmm.
And now it says save, right?
Right.
Perfect. So that's what you'll do when you want to save your work. Now,
Okay.
what that load feature does, say you want to come back a week from now, and you said, oh, I think I saved Hello Dolly in there, didn't I? You can say, I want to play it now. And that is what load is for. You're loading that song that you made. Just like your song setups, it's basically the same thing, except you made it yourself. So you're loading up your own song setups, or you're saving your own. Okay, so save or load. And it's the same with the USB. It gives you both options. So any other questions? John, did you have a question?
Yeah, John has a question. We got where you put, where you name it on your USB, but what was the next step to save it to the USB?
Yeah, and it's just on the bottom. I'll show you the same picture. I think it's on there. Let me make sure. It doesn't say it on here, but yeah. On the bottom, it'll say save. On the bottom right, it just says save. So just hit on the touch screen. If you have a touch screen, just tap where it says save. If you don't have a touch screen, at the end you just hit select, and that just
we have a
saves
touch
it in.
screen.
Yeah, well, there
We
you go.
have
Yep,
Rialto.
perfect. Yeah, bottom right it'll say save setups, and that's the last step, and you're done. And now you can
Okay,
go on
thank
and save all sorts of stuff. Because what's really fun about this hobby, to me anyway, my favorite part, is when you get instruments like this. You know, maybe some people have easy series on here, or maybe you did in the past. What's nice about those is you can't do a lot to goof it up, because you don't have a lot of options. It limits you in a good way, because when you have all these options, you're afraid of pressing the wrong buttons, right? So what happens is when you get more buttons and you invest in yourself and you get something like this or something like an Inspire or Rialto, is you get all these extra options that really let you customize and make the hobby your own. So say you've played Hello Dolly or whatever song you like, 100 times now, and you feel like, okay, I can play it well enough. Rather than just move on and say, I'm going to play a different song, you can save your work and say, I want to make it sound even better. I want to make it sound the way I like it. I want to play with a trumpet and a kazoo and a whistle sound, and then save it. So that's the whole benefit to having something like this, is you can save your work. You can customize, you can really make it your own, and I think that's important. That's what's fun for me, is taking something that anybody can do. You know, I feel like if you play Hello Dolly 100 times, most people probably feel comfortable with it. But the next step, the fun step, is to say, I want to set it up just the way I like it and make it sound perfect. So I see another question. Michael, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, on the Rialto, when you first turn the Rialto on,
Mm-hmm.
it asks for you to put the USB port in. That's after the first time that I actually downloaded to the USB. Is there a way, when you turn your unit on, to take that off?
Yes, there is. Actually, that shouldn't come up. The reason that would come up is there might be an option saved in your feature menu. And let's see if I can pull that up. It might be difficult to find on the fly, but I will try. Basically, what's happening is your instrument is thinking that there's a feature in your feature menu, if you have a touch screen, where you can actually set it to right when you turn on the instrument, it just starts playing songs. And
it's
what
not
happens
doing
is
that.
sometimes people have that feature on and don't realize it, or maybe somebody turned it on at one point. And I'm trying to figure out how I can show how to turn it off, but it's kind of difficult here. Audio recorder, listen to an audio file. Yeah, I'm not finding it off the bat because it is in the feature menu and in your manual. But I will tell you, here's what you do. You go to the feature menu and look for an option that says chain songs. Just try to find something that says chain songs. Because what
Right.
that's
I
doing
found
is,
that.
yeah, there's a button on there that automatically, when you turn on the instrument, it'll just start playing what's in your USB. So you just have to turn that feature off. So just make sure you turn that
Okay,
off.
but that's assuming that you've got a USB stick in. This
Correct.
comes up on the screen before it even loads the Rialto sign.
Well, that's
as
what I
you
mean, because
first
it's
turn
thinking
it-
you're turning on the instrument, you just want to play a song. And even if you don't have a USB in there, it's still looking for a USB. So because that
Okay.
feature is on. So if you turn that off, the instrument won't look for
Got
that
it.
feature. It won't look for a USB. So, but if you need any help, call your local store or call us here. I'm at the Mesa location.
They didn't know the
Yeah.
answer.
Good. All right. Any other questions so far? Okay. Let's see. I'm deciding whether I should give you more stuff to work on or leave it there, because that was a good amount of stuff, right? So I just want you to know that that is the best part, I think, of having something like this, is being able to save your work. Because I can't tell you how many times somebody with an easy 10 or an easy 4 says, oh, I did this and I did this and I just love it. It's so good. Is there a way that I can just do it again without touching all those buttons? And I have to say, no, unfortunately not. Because that's a good thing. That's why they make those instruments, is so you don't goof it up as easily. But when you want to add those extra features and you want to save your work, that's why it's great to have these types of instruments. And every instrument you go, they add more stuff. And it's not just stuff to make you, confused, or, it's just stuff to make it easier for you so you don't have to do all the work every time. Like the USB just makes it easier than having to, be limited to, maybe 20 songs in this one. So, Ken, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Go
I've,
ahead.
I've got I do a lot of recordings,
Cool.
and what I would like to put the name of the song on the recording first. And so I tried to leave a space when I did the recording,
Okay.
but it doesn't take. It doesn't start to record until you hit your first chord note. So is there a way that you can do that so that when you've got a MP3 file, that it's got the name of the song first?
Yeah, you can. If you
Oh,
record as an MP3, and I was going to start talking about recording, but that's a whole other class, so I'll do that on the next one, I think. Because recording is awesome, too. It's just like this kind of stuff, saving your work. A lot of stuff you can do with it. You can use it as a learning tool, or if you want to record and have something to send to people, especially the MP3s are easy because you can put them in your computer and just email it off. But to answer your question, the easiest way to name an MP3 is not on the organ. The easiest way to do it is to put your USB in your computer. And if you put them in your computer, you can actually take each song and name each one in like 30 seconds. Just easy, easy, easy. And if you need help with that, I would say to call your local store, or you can call me at Mesa. If you look at our website, it has every store's phone number on there. So that'll give you, that's our plug for using the website as well. So,
no,
but there are a couple different ways you can name them. That's by far the easiest, is to do it in the computer. You just take the USB out of your instrument, plug it into your computer, and go through each song and just name it exactly what you want to. Just with
yeah,
the-
I do that. That's not the
Mhm.
question. I want it so that when it goes to play,
Mhm.
that my voice comes on first and says the name of the song. I
Oh,
want
you
it
want to
part of
record
the
your
recording.
voice. You want to record your voice. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. When you touch the audio button to record, you touch audio, then the record button, then just talk. And it's recording your voice when you touch
Oh.
audio and then record.
Yeah, but what happens is that when you touch it to start the transfer to the MP3, and you got audio on.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is you're recording it as a Lowry file first. You're recording
Yeah,
the song first, and then you want to add your voice later. Okay.
yeah.
That's a little different because I don't know if you can. Yeah, you could do that too.
Well, you can add you can sing it,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't get enough space to say
Sure.
because when you hit the button to start the conversion to
Mm-hmm.
an MP3 format, when you do that, it starts.
Just starts. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
starts right away. It won't leave that space that you had in there.
Yep.
or
And
that
that's
you
kind of.
thought you had in there.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of made that way just so it goes from beginning to end more easily because most of the time people don't do that in between. What I would do is record it as a separate track even. You can hit the
Well, I done that.
MP3, yeah, MP3, and then you can have the talking kind of in between as a separate track.
What I do is I take an MP3 recording and then I take a digital recorder and I talk about the song and then I record it on the digital recorder. That works fine.
Well, there you go.
But I thought there might be a way of doing it in the organ.
Not really for that. Yeah, like we talked, there are several solutions.
I've done about 80 recordings.
Great. What I'll do is for our next class for the next time we do something like this, I'll teach recording and I'll get a little bit more in depth on that because I don't want to get too off subject with the recording type of stuff. I want to stick with the saving setups. All right, Judy, you have a question? Judy? Oh.
Will you send the music for Hello Dolly along with the other?
I can mention that. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I just meant to use that one as more of an example, but if you want it,
Right.
I could probably send it. Yeah. All right. I think that's all we got for questions. So I'm just going to do some announcements because I don't want to get too into all this other stuff. Like I said, next time, hopefully, we'll talk a little bit more about recording because that's a great feature to use and have. If you need help with something that I talked about today or something I might have not talked about it, contact your local store, contact your PA if you have one. If you don't have one, get one. We're free. You can ask us. So ask anybody. Go to our website. That's going to be our plug for the day too. Is go to our website, FletcherMusic.com. Easy as that. No space, no anything like that. FletcherMusic.com and explore it because we're going to be using it more and more. we're going to really use it a lot, because over time, not right away, but over time, that's where you're going to be accessing all of these classes, everything we do, rather than send you an email every day. We want to try to get away from that. But we want you to check out our website and say, oh, I want to go to Friday's class. And then on Friday, you click on the website, look for the class you want, and click on it, and it'll take you right to it, just like the email links. So it'll work the same way. So that's that. It is Member Appreciation Days still, which is super important. We appreciate everything you do for us. We wouldn't be anything without you guys. When Robert and myself kind of started this online stuff, it was a total experiment. And he said, what do you know about Zoom? So I did whatever I could to help him, and it's gone very, very well for us. And we appreciate you guys sticking with us and keeping tabs on us and coming to all these things. If you know anybody, any current students who maybe they haven't been as involved with our online classes, tell them, hey, get online, try it out. It's not so bad. It's good, even. You can tell them that. Or this is even more important, if you know somebody who has never played before. We do classes, and right now, at limited time, we are doing our Conductor Magic class, which is our beginner class, for free. So tell a friend, say, hey, here's a Zoom link, or contact us. We'll get it to them, and let them try it. Let them try our free class. And even, I think it's even today in about, what time is it? In about an hour or two, maybe a half hour, something like that. We have a free class starting up. So call us with any questions on that. And that is about all I've got. So thank you for attending. And what I'll do is maybe I'll play a song on the way out, if I can decide what to play last second. I'm going to play some country music because I like to do that sometimes. Let's do this. I am going to play... I'm not going to play country. I'm going to play Western. And I'm going to try to play the good, the bad, and the ugly on the fly here. This is a tough song because it sounds a lot better, too, when you set up all the stuff first. But I'm going to try playing it without setting up my work here. So here we go. Thanks again for attending. Let's see. Do that, do that. Slow it down a little. It's a bit too fast for me. And that should be good. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So thanks again for attending today. I hope you all had a nice time and learned something.
Good job. Good job.
But
Wow.
it's not going to stick to memory unless you use it. So try it right away. Save some song setups here. Save your own bank setups. So have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, Sean.
Great.
welcome.
Sean. Sean. Thanks.
Very nice. Thank you. Bye, Inez.